Welcome to It All Starts With You. I'm your host, Eileen Lemelman, licensed clinical social worker, best-selling author, and motivational speaker. We'll share stories of hope, perseverance, and success that will inspire you to live a meaningful life. This show will motivate you, educate you, and encourage you to manifest your dreams into reality at any age. Because it all starts with you. Now on to the show. Hello there. I'm Eileen Lemelman, your host. I'm also a psychotherapist, a #1 best-selling author, a motivational speaker, and I am here today to talk about stories. Yes, I am happiest when I am sharing stories to help you, to empower you, to inspire you. And I have invited guests today who have the most amazing stories because, stories share pain, share struggle, share triumph, share joy, and it shares their dreams. And we want to know about all of that when we get to know somebody, when we hear about them, right? It inspires us. It helps us. The two elements that I am most passionate about when I share stories, it's about empowering women and it's about healing people and women. Of course, my audience is you, the woman. Stories are it's like a heartbeat, right? It's a heartbeat that really resides in us when we share our stories. So, Maya Angelou once said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." And today we're going to hear two stories from two different women. They have different stories, but they are going to be one that will inspire you, help you, and I hope heal you in some way. My first guest today is Julia Langley. She is a motivational speaker, a coach, and a singer. I met Julia when we were co-authors in a collaborative book called Call to Lead, Speak, and Impact, yes. Right? I almost forgot the name of our book. And when I learned about Julia, I really started thinking, wow, her story is amazing because you never know what's behind somebody and what story they have to tell and where they've come from and how far they've come. Well, Julia has quite a story to tell. So let's start with, first of all, introducing Julia and talking about how you got here to this place.
Wow, it's a long and winding story, let me tell you. So I'm going to spare you some of those details, but I started out when I was 2 years old as a singer, all right? And that was my first debut on stage. And as I grew in that, I was challenged. Every age we are and every level we are, we have new challenges that we're presented with, right? We take on those challenges and we grow. So it was my dream in life to be able to do what I love and make a living doing it. And I was so successful in that when I auditioned for Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil. Let's really put an exclamation point. Cirque du Soleil. Oh my gosh, if anybody has ever been to Cirque du Soleil, you know that that's more than just acrobatics.
Oh,
it's more than a show. It's more than singing. It's more than acting. It's everything.
It is, and it's life's work for a lot of people. I mean, they train from, like I did. I trained my voice from the time I was 2 years old. A lot of the acrobats are training, they're doing contortion, they're doing gymnastics, and they're world-class athletes. So there's a commitment level that goes into this. There's a determination, a discipline that's involved in it as well. And I was just mesmerized by it when I saw it on stage for the first time, and I said, that's what I want to do.
Oh my goodness. So you knew from a very young age that this was your life's work,
Yes.
that it was your passion, and nothing was going to stop you from getting there.
That's right.
Which is highly unusual for, people. Usually you go through so many different paths to get to where you want to get. You don't even know, right?
Well,
and so
I don't want to give the illusion that it was from A to B, though. But, it is a winding path. I think even when you know, and even when you have certain skills, it's still it's the lessons that you learn all along the way and the journey that you take.
The journey.
It was a journey.
Yeah.
A beautiful one, though.
Yes. So you reached the pinnacle. You reached your goal.
Yes.
You accomplished what you want, to be a singer at Cirque du Soleil.
That's correct.
And then what happened?
Well, 18 years with Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, it was 18 years.
18
Woo!
years, yes. And it is my life's work, but I knew that I wanted something more. So I started looking at the next phase in my career and tossing them around some ideas. And then in 2019, which we'll go there, I was almost killed. I almost died. I was hit by a car while I was riding my bicycle. And so I went from flying high at the top of my game with Cirque du Soleil and then living this just freedom lifestyle that I loved to literally rock bottom.
Literally rock bottom.
Literally.
I mean, you had not only severe injuries, but life-threatening injuries.
Yes, I did. I had a spinal cord injury and a double head injury. So I've had multiple surgeries. Every year since the accident, which happened in 2019, I've had a different surgery to repair.
Oh my gosh.
And
What keeps you going? Because, I think there are people out there that can really relate to chronic pain, chronic, injuries, multiple surgeries. And listen, I have patients that come to me with those same exact problems, issues, and, struggles that they face. And some of them really are they don't have the resilience to deal with it, to really push through. What enabled you to push through?
well, it's just that I just was determined that I wasn't going to stay in that spot. Literally, it's just like when I looked at Cirque du Soleil and said, I want to work there. And then I did what I had to do to work there. I looked at myself in the mirror and didn't even recognize who I was. And I said, I don't want this to be my life. I've got to come back from this. And maybe my life looks different on the other side. And it does look a little different now that I've come through the other side of this. But during the journey, it can be dark and it can be very scary because some days you feel like you're not going to be able to walk. Some days you can't remember things. My memory is not quite as good as it was before the accident, And,
I'm sure.
So
Sure, you have physical as well as neurological issues.
I do. And I was diagnosed with PTSD about 3 months afterward, which is something that, for me, I love going to concerts and I'm a rock and roll girl. I love rock and roll, but I have a problem with concerts because of the noise.
The loud noise is very triggering for you.
It is. So I've had to adapt my lifestyle. And, it is a journey, Eileen, because you look at yourself what you were, you look at yourself where you're going, and you're like, wait, did I lose myself in there somewhere too?
Yes.
And so it's just a constant self-check. It's a constant desire for more. It's not letting yourself be okay with that status quo, always striving. Whatever level you're at, you can just strive to be that 1%.
Yeah.
A little bit better the next day.
But in order to really make a choice, because it is a choice.
It is.
It's a choice to say, I want to move forward. I want to do and check in and kind of challenge myself so that I could be 1% better tomorrow than I am today.
Absolutely.
So how do you feel that your self-confidence has evolved over time?
Well, I'm definitely a lot more able to, I can handle challenges even better than I could before. I'm a lot calmer in certain situations. I think that my confidence, because I have done so much internal work and so much studying and really understanding the challenges I face, understanding what it takes to get beyond that, I feel like I'm the best version of myself that I've ever been now.
Wow, isn't that awesome?
I feel expanded, and I feel there's a wisdom there that I didn't have before.
You know what I tell my patients all the time, and listen, I don't wish anything bad to anybody, but what I tell them is that life is a series of ups and downs, of unplanned, unexpected, tragedies, traumas, situations. But it's what do you want to learn from that experience?
And it's like I said with the weaving, right? Even when things are fabulous, you're going to go down these roads and let these challenges take you down. You can go down these paths, and you can go down some darker paths and some lighter paths, as long as you're pulling yourself to the center and keeping yourself centered along the way. And I think that really helped recognizing, well, okay, I went a little far, let me pull myself back a bit.
So I imagine after this accident, you were unable to perform the way you used to perform. So where did that accident and all the healing and everything that you had to face, what path did that take you down?
Well, as I said, I had already looked at because I'd been working for Cirque for 18 years, so I wanted to look at what the next phase in my career was. So I was presented with an accident.
You didn't know it was going to be.
I didn't know.
You didn't ask for an accident to make.
Believe me. But you know what followed that? The pandemic. So I have a year of not working, and then a pandemic that shut the entertainment industry down.
Wow.
So my life sort of was just, and then we had a tornado that knocked my mom's house down. My father passed. Like, it was a series.
Oh, it was like one thing after the other. It was like, how much more can you give me, God?
I'm like, I'm strong. I promise I'm strong. But, but what it did do, here's the thing. What it did do is it gave me a chance. It gave me time, number one, time to spend with my aging parents. This is the biggest thing in the world. Because I was convalescing and because of the pandemic, I went to my mom and dad's house and I had breakfast with my dad, and I helped my mom in her studio create, and we sewed and made all kinds of beautiful things. And these are the things that I did. I didn't know that my father was going to pass within 8 months.
Wow. So through this trauma, this tragedy, this really unbelievable experience, you were actually given some blessings as well.
So many blessings. And not only that, but the new phase in my career came out of that.
Okay, tell us, what's the new phase?
Yeah, so here we are. All of these years of experience of being on stages, 20 different countries, all 50 states around the world. There's a lot of knowledge here. And I see that there's so many people that want to share their message with the world. And they don't know how to do it. They don't even know how to really bring it all together. And that's what I do now, as I help others get up on those stages, whatever the stage may be. And it might be a job interview, or it might be managing a team, a small team at your corporation, or it could be standing up and giving a keynote. There are a lot of different ways we can use our voice.
Yes.
What I'm doing, my next career has been to help others learn how to give confident, commanding performances, whatever that word performance means to you.
Well, listen, this is such an unbelievable, class that you are offering, for want of a better word. Because listen, the most number one fear in this world is public speaking.
Absolutely.
More than, flying, more than, any of the other fears that people might have, the number one fear people have is publicly speaking.
Absolutely.
And so you decided, I'm going to offer this help, this support. And I love what you said before. You want to help people have a voice.
That's right.
Because that is really what gets us acknowledged, validated, gives us confidence, allows us to speak our truth when we have a voice.
That's right. And so often we don't use it. We hold back. We have these great ideas. We have things, we have these unique gifts within us. And this is something I'm very passionate about. We all have these unique gifts. Some people never even know that they have the gift until someone looks at them and says, "Do you realize that you have this special aura about you?" What? When you get up in front of people, this is what you do. And they just, that look, I'll never forget the look when I see it on people's faces and they say
Who,
to me,
me?
"Who, me?"
Right.
And you're like, yeah, you really got this special thing. It's my favorite thing of all to do, and to
Yes.
really work with people one-on-one. Not as this some cookie cutter thing that I do, but really work with people one-on-one to bring those messages out.
That's beautiful. So what does that look like when you say, I help people get a voice, feel confident, and be commanding on the stage? What does that actually mean?
Well, there's a lot of different components. I have, we prepare, we perform, we persevere, all these things that we've talked about. So
Practice, practice, practice.
well, it is, but you've got to know what you're practicing.
Yes.
You can practice the wrong way for a long time.
This is true.
So there's certain skill sets that are involved. There's messaging that's involved, but all of it really goes into your confidence. How are you carrying yourself? Nonverbal cues are just as important as the verbal.
This is true.
So you've got to have your good message, right? These are all that preparation, but then you have to execute. And then then you have those days when you're not feeling so good about yourself, and you have to persevere. And these are the things that I work on with my clients.
So have you ever had somebody who was so timid, so scared, trembling, actually throw up before, a performance of some sort, and got them to the point where they actually feel really confident?
Absolutely. One person is coming to mind right now. When I first started working with her, she would have the opportunity, nowhere to be found. She would never show up. And I would have to go look for her, and she would be in the bathroom, sick or crying, one of the two. Listen, I worked with her, but let me tell you what this person is doing now. She stands up on the stage in Georgia now and tells the world why you should work with the American Heart Association. She
Okay.
advocates for heart health.
Oh, I love
right?
it. I love
and
it.
she sings, and now she just owns it. Like
Yes.
she's this proud jazz singer
Yes.
with these power poses, and I look at her and I think, this is why I do what I do.
Right.
Every time I see her face, I
So
think that.
I know you can all relate to this. I know you can all relate to the fact how scared you are getting in front of a crowd. And maybe that's even limiting you from moving to your next level, moving to the next step in your life. Maybe it's held you back. Maybe
right.
you couldn't get a promotion or couldn't even do something so simple as, I don't know, getting up and saying something in front of the PTA, right?
Well, some people won't even apply for the job because they know they have to interview for it.
Yeah.
And this is speaking. So when I say, these performances or presentations, I'm talking about anything that requires you to open your mouth and tell someone who you are and what you stand for. And this can manifest itself in so many different ways. It's not just about the stage.
Right, right. Well, it's about taking risks,
That's
right?
right.
What's the biggest risk you ever took in your life?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, joining the circus is a pretty huge risk.
This is true.
I all through my life, there have been decisions I made. When I was in high school, I just changed high schools on the spur of the moment. One day I woke up one morning and said, I'm going to go to a different high school. Now, that's a weird thing to do. I did it when I was in careers. I just woke up one day and said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to work for myself. And I quit my job and I went to work for myself. Same thing happens with the circus. I'm going to join the circus. So all through my life, there have been those moments. Now, I make them sound like, oh, I'm just going to go do this. It was a lot of sweating, hand writhing. I think one time I even actually got I got sick one time. I had a rash because my nerves were so bad. So it's going through challenges. It wasn't easy decisions, but at the end of the day, I didn't let my fear stop me from making those quantum leaping decisions, and I went for it. And I failed miserably sometimes.
I'm the kind of person who jumps in and figures it out later.
That's what you got to do.
Sometimes it doesn't work out so good that way.
Yeah, but
but it just gets you on the horse.
Well, it doesn't. And the truth, this is what I like to tell people, is that your first time of doing something, it's not gonna be the best time you do it.
Right.
And I know a lot of people, they want everything to be right before they make that decision or make that jump. Oh, I gotta get this or this and this.
Yeah.
But the truth is, a lot of times is you just gotta take the step to do it. And you learn, just like what you're talking about. Trial by fire sometimes is the best way to learn.
I know. So, has your idea, well, first of all, are you happy now?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I have a freedom lifestyle. I'm able to work, spend time with my mom, travel all over the world. I'm going to England in a month, and I'm going to work from there while I'm there. I speak internationally, and I'll be doing a speaker tour while I'm in England. So I couldn't even imagine. I love my life, love it. And these were choices I made, and challenges I faced, and here I am living the life of my dreams.
So has your idea of happiness and success changed over your life?
Yeah, I would say yes. When you're very idealistic when you're younger. Yeah. Very idealistic when you're younger. And I think I'm a lot more realistic with that now, and I know just a little smarter, maybe a little wiser than I was. So definitely it has changed some through the years, but for me, it's about experiences in life and what can I experience. I'm one of those people that the day that I do pass on from this earth, I want to kind of slide in sideways, all skinned up and ready, and can honestly say that I have lived the fullest life that you could possibly imagine.
So Julia, what message would you give my audience, which is, a mature audience? It's an audience of women that are in the process of either pivoting or changing, maybe empty nesters, maybe, they've retired and they don't know what to do, but they want to do something. What message would you give a mature woman who feels like her life is over or there's no place left to go?
Listen, I can say this with a whole heart because I talked to my mom about it. You need to identify that which makes you the happiest. Identify that and do it. And if it's traveling, then travel. Find someone that'll travel with you if you don't want to do it alone, right? If it's singing, which it was for my mom, I said, sing, Mom, you've got to find a place to do it. And she did. Ooh. She went out. She started singing every day. And she's always been a singer, but she just got away from it.
Yeah.
You can do it. You just have to decide to put it into your calendar every single day.
You know what you just said? That's so important. See, she knew. She got joy.
Yes.
And such energy and vitality from singing. She got away from it.
She did.
A variety of reasons, I'm sure. Maybe life, family, money, who house.
That's exactly right. Well, life gets in the way for all of us. And a lot of times when you have things happen in your, like I talked about in your life, you become dulled by it. I'm sorry about this beeping, you guys. I'm going to take this. I'm just being casual here.
Yeah, that's
I
all right.
apologize
That's
for
all
that.
right.
It's distracting me here. We get away from it. Life gets in the way. And it doesn't matter if you're younger, older. It really doesn't matter what age you are. It can happen to all of us. Even if you have children, they become your priority. You have an aging parent, they become your priority. Aging spouse. See, wherever we are in life, there's always a reason not to do it.
That's right. There's always a reason to mute your voice.
That's exactly.
To dim your light, right?
Always.
And so we've got to step into that power.
That's exactly right.
I love the message that you bring.
It's so true, though. It's the only thing that will bring you empowerment and confidence is taking that step. Truly.
Do you regret anything that you've done?
No. No. Have I made mistakes? Yes. Those mistakes are why I am right here, right now. So I can't think of a single time in my life where I say, oh, I wish I didn't do that. There's no regrets. I can't think of one.
So what lesson are you still learning about yourself, about life, about, choices that you make, about healing? What lessons are you still learning?
There's a couple right now. It's really funny you asked this. I'm doing my own self-discovery work right now. So one of the things is really letting go of things that don't serve me anymore. Things that might be in your life for a long time. But you look at where you are and you say to yourself, this is holding me in place. And it doesn't need to hold me in place. It's not, let it go. And it's not easy, It's like,
isn't there a song about let it go?
Let it go, let it go. Yeah.
I knew I'd get you to sing at some point in this interview.
You got to know that out of me. It's so true, though. But you think it's easy. You think it's easy, but it isn't easy to burn things down sometimes.
Letting go means surrendering.
Yeah, and we don't want to do that.
We don't want to surrender
because we're vulnerable.
We're holding on to what we know.
We become more vulnerable when we surrender.
Yes.
But going through the accident, you also, as a person who does persevere, sometimes you get that thick skin and you get that tough on, You get your tough on. But you have to remember that sometimes you've got to have that some softness with that toughness too. So this is my lesson that I'm working on. Getting the softness back, balancing that with the armor. Balancing that with the armor. And really letting go of that which holds me from being even better.
Well, it's true. Surrendering, letting go is all about vulnerability. And when we're vulnerable, we run the risk of being seen. We run the risk of being hurt. We run the risk of being imperfect. But isn't that what life is all about? Isn't that the beauty of life? Being open and vulnerable and learning? Some people might say no, but I say yes. Go for it. Go for being vulnerable because it's going to bring you blessings that you might never have thought would be possible. So we're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we're going to have our second guest, another amazing, powerful woman, Autumn Markley. So stay tuned.
Palermo, Landsman & Ross is a full-service tax and accounting firm located in Cooper City, Florida. For over 35 years, they have been assisting clients worldwide with solutions to assist clients with income tax planning, bookkeeping, consulting, and complex accounting issues. With constant tax law and rule changes, you need a competent, professional, and responsive accounting firm to have your back year-round. Please visit www.plrcpas.com to learn more about Palermo, Landsman & Ross and the services they offer.
Eileen Lemelman is a highly experienced licensed clinical social worker and psychotherapist, offering 30 years of insight into the healing of trauma, anxiety, and depression. With a patient and individualized approach tailored to every client's needs, Eileen leads her patients on a journey of self-discovery and healing, with the goal of ultimately achieving balance, joy, and fulfillment in life. No matter how old you are, it's never too late to live a passionate, happy life. Eileen is ready to support you on your journey to healing. Contact Eileen Lemelman today at 631-988-8453 to schedule your appointment today.
You're watching It All Starts With You with Eileen Lemelman. To join in the conversation, give us a call at 888-994-4995, Studio A. Now back to the show. Perfect. Hello there, welcome back. So I hope that you had a lot of inspiration from our last guest, Julia. But right now I have another special guest. Her name is Autumn Markley. She's a hairstylist who also knew from a very young age that that's what she wanted to do. That was her passion. From a very, very young age, she knew she wanted to style hair and be in someone's head. But she is so much more than that. You know, if you've ever seen my hair and liked it, well, it's Autumn who does my hair. And over the time that I've been her client, I've gotten to know Autumn. And she is the most interesting, most self-motivated, entrepreneurial spirit you're ever going to meet. And I said, we got to get you on because you are quite an inspiration. And I want my audience to get a whiff of you and get some of that in their blood. So welcome, Autumn.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you
So
here.
nice to be here.
Okay, you're in my chair now.
I know, right? It's a little scary, but okay, let's do this.
So how did you know from such a young age that you wanted to be a hairstylist?
It's funny, it's always been one of those things that I was like always very creative and always was in the art room. I was in a small school growing up in New Hampshire, and the art teacher always got to the point that she didn't even have any more classes for me. So I had to do independent studies. I was like always had to get my hands on something. I was always visual. And, it's just like thinking of what I could do with that, it's like, why don't I become a hairdresser? It's just like, it's still very artistic, but in the same aspect, I'm also talking to people and caring for people and everything throughout the process.
Yeah. So it's not only behind the easel or in the studio, behind the potter's wheel, you're also dealing with
you're dealing with
people and customer service and also getting to know their stories.
Yeah, and that's
there's something so intimate about, I find, there's an intimacy that develops when somebody is cutting your hair or doing your nails, right?
Absolutely.
Like they're touching you. They're really touching your body. And so there's an intimacy, and I'm sure you hear so many stories. People tell you like things that they wouldn't tell anybody else.
Nothing shocks me anymore. Nothing shocks me. I've heard it all.
I know. And the other thing is that what I've noticed about people that are creative, when they're creative in one place, they're usually creative in so many places in their life. And I know you've shared with me how, and you've showed me pictures of the amazing decorating, including your studio, including your hairdressing shop. But the amazing creative, kind of person you are, decorating houses.
Yes, I love to decorate on top of everything else. So that's kind of been one of my hobbies. But now I know it's like after building a couple salons and moving salons and, having some help with other people, but just being creative in that aspect, I know I have a ability to fall back on that if I wanted to.
Yeah. So I know you didn't grow up in Florida.
No.
So where did you grow up and how did you get to South Florida?
So I grew up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is a really small town on the coast, about 45 minutes from Boston. And I literally, in high school, just started saving money. And when I was done with high school at 18 years old, I packed my car up and moved down here.
Wow.
So I didn't know anybody. I was working at a restaurant and the lady was like, well, I used to live in Fort Lauderdale. And she was kind of describing it. And I'm like, that would work. That would work. And I was like, I didn't want to go to California because that was way too far and more expensive. And I kind of just ended up here. I wanted warm weather. I wanted culture. I wanted to be able to be around some higher energy. And
yeah, there's
I
a
picked the
difference
perfect
between
spot.
small town New Hampshire and Fort Lauderdale,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
And talk about, with Julia, we were talking about taking a risk in life.
I've taken a lot of risks.
Right? So that was a huge risk, packing up your car and just driving down here.
Yes. I had a 2-week stay at a hotel on the beach that doesn't even exist anymore, and a cashier's check for like $2,000.
Wow.
And
So
that's when I started down here.
So what you had to do in order to get in that car and drive down here, aside from convincing your parents, I'm sure.
Yeah, they learned really early on, and I'm very lucky that there was no stopping me.
Yeah.
So they always were like
Yeah.
cheering me on versus trying to give me,
That means a lot. 'Cause
Yeah.
when a parent nurtures and encourages, what's inside instead of squashes it.
Absolutely.
It really makes
Yeah.
a huge difference. But what you had to have in order to get in that car and drive down here is you had to have a certain amount of self-confidence in
Yeah.
yourself, believe in yourself. Where does that come from?
I feel like I've always been really independent, so I don't know if it was, growing up, childhood or anything like that, but it's just like I've always been able to just kind of figure things out and do them. I was always kind of like, and I don't have a lot of fear. And I think that is definitely a good thing and could be a bad thing, but I take it as a good thing. So a lot of like my endeavors in life and stuff has been, very lack of fear and just kind of doing it and then thinking about it later.
Yeah.
So
I know when you got down here, not only did you develop your career in hairstyling and open your own shop ultimately, but you got involved in a lot of other things.
yes.
So I want you to share with my audience, your philosophy about, what you do, why you do it, how you get involved with so many entrepreneurial kinds of endeavors. What pushes you to do that?
I think in a way I've always been fascinated with just like, finances and, retirement and all that kind of stuff. And then seeing people in my industry working day to day and not realizing, we don't have retirement, we don't have 401ks, we don't have the ability to, keep on moving unless we save. So, early on I've learned the kind of the business aspect of hairdressing on top of being a hairdresser. So it's like, so that kind of drove me to a certain extent. And then my dad always taught me about real estate, so in that process over the time I've bought several properties and have income coming in that way. And then
All right, we're not going to just gloss over that. No,
Why?
because that is amazing.
Yeah.
Because talk about, educating yourself and taking risks and stepping outside of your comfort zone is exactly what your whole, real estate, kind of owning properties, doing things outside of the box is all about.
this is true. Yes. So yeah.
So I'm just wondering, is there, I know you said your dad, but I'm really thinking about the women in your life.
Oh, for sure. For
So
sure.
I'm thinking about what woman or what women in your life, either in your family or in your community, have played a role in that kind of part of yourself and encouraged you to really be independent and be entrepreneurial and find other ways to support yourself, now and also in retirement.
Right, exactly. Definitely my mother. My mother was always a huge advocate with just, you know, pushing me to do the best that I can, be a strong woman, be, you know, anything I want to be. You know, it's like there's no guidelines in growing up and stuff. And then I'm also very close with my aunt, and she over time has been several different, you know, has had several different jobs and had the opportunity to really explore with different opportunities and stuff. So I see the women in my family and in my life making changes to better themselves and having the ability to do that, and, you know, not having the fear to make, you know, just kind of sit back and stay in a position. So I feel like that's...
Well, you have women in your life then that are a little bit different, right?
Oh, yeah.
Proactive.
No, for sure.
And, you know, not sitting on the sidelines.
No, definitely not.
What message would you give younger women who are just starting out, either in, you know, the field of hairdressing or any kind of field that, you know, they need to take hold and really have powerful ideas? What would you tell them about, you know, your experience?
Just not to have the fear, you know. It's just like, it's kind of that whole aspect of, you know, it's like, you know, my old boss used to tell me, fake it till you make it, you know. It's just like, so, you know, we might not be the best hairdressers starting out, but you have to touch people, you have to communicate with people, you have to learn, you know, how to, you know, to do everything. And it's just like, that's only going to come with time and the more you do it. And then if you always live in that fear, you know, space, then you never get past that, you know, the ability to actually achieve higher goals, you know. So I feel like, you know, it's like when I first started doing hair, I didn't really like it. You know, I was just like, but then when I started getting relationships with my clients and getting exciting to see people on a daily, you know, basis, and oh, so-and-so is coming in, and, you know, it's just like, and then getting people that start trusting you, that you get to be creative and stuff, and it's just like, that's the portion of the industry that I fell in love with.
You know, and that's so true about any industry that you get involved with. It's all about relationships. It's all about creating, developing the trust factor.
Absolutely.
The place of like, yeah, this, I want you to come here and feel comfortable. This is like, you know, I want you to feel like it's your home, right? Right,
exactly, 100%.
And I have to say that your salon is definitely a place like that.
And I enjoy that aspect. You know, it's like I have people that come in and they want coffee and they're like, oh, I'll get it myself. And I'm like, no, we're a salon. Like, we cater to you. We want you guys to come in and relax. But, you know, it's just like, you know, it's just fun. You know, it's, I've created an environment that everybody feels very comfortable coming in. You know, it has a higher end feel, but also a very comfortable feel. And that was a goal for me. You know, it's like my dog is there every day. So
I was just, you took the words right out of my mouth. That little doggy. Wait, what's the dog's name?
Inca.
Inca. All right, tell her how you got the name
She's
Inca.
our greeter. I wanted sriracha, but nobody really wanted to go on board with me on that one. So, you know, my team, you know, people in my life and stuff were like, no, you can't have a dog that has 3 syllables and you can scream a condiment across the, you know, house. It's not going to work out.
It's not going to work.
I was like, but she's sassy like sriracha, so she would have been able to fit that. So,
well, sassy might have been cute.
yeah, right, exactly. So Inca was another option on the table. So
all
that's kind of,
well, she's adorable.
And that means goddess. So, and she is my little goddess. She's adorable.
Yeah, you know, and you want to access the goddess within.
Exactly. Absolutely.
You know? And so talk to me about, I'm going to say a word, and you say what the first thing that comes to your head, okay?
Right.
Laundromat.
Oh my goodness. Adventure. A very big venture. Yes.
Well, tell us about laundromat.
Okay, so I own a laundromat in Miami. It's Little Havana Laundry, and it's on Cayocha Boulevard. I don't speak a lick of Spanish. It was kind of one of those sit back during the pandemic and realizing I don't have a job. I'm still paying rent at the salon, and, you know, that whole thing of, you know, I think what's really pushed me through my life is if I'm not behind my chair, I'm not making money. So, you know, it's just like, so I've always looked at different avenues of creating money and stuff like that. Pandemic, you know, business that, you know, is an essential business, you know, and, you know, yeah, so laundromat car washes and storage units are all on top of the list, you know. So let's just ponder
Let's
those
lay it
things.
all out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Those
So
are great, like, great businesses to have like passive income, right?
100%. Yep.
So, I just want to, I want you to really speak to the women out there who think that they can't, make income at any stage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and and sometimes I think the big thing is I think people overthink things. And I think sometimes you just have to be in the moment and you just have to, put yourself in a position that you have to figure it out. Because if you sit back and analyze the situation, which we are great as women, we are
Yes.
great at overanalyzing,
yes.
overthinking,
Overthinking,
and everything.
over-ruminating.
So it's just like get yourself out of that space and really just be like, you know what, let me try this. Let me see if it works. And
I think people overthink and overanalyze
All the
because
time.
either they're not confident or they're putting somebody else before them,
100%.
right?
Absolutely.
So I know those things that you talked about require money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so how do people get the money to start those things? How did you do it?
Luckily with the pandemic and stuff, we had a lot of opportunities with small business loans, so that definitely helped out a good amount.
So you made a bad situation into work.
Yes, I have
working
to
for
say the
you.
pandemic was actually very good. I think it was good in many different ways. Thank God our industry was only shut down for about 2 months, but it was a beautiful month that I was able to just sit home and relax for the first time. I think it was the first time since I was 14 that I didn't have a job to go to. So I had that moment of really just like resting my mind and being at peace and everything. And then it kind of gave me that drive to like, okay, let's get it again,
Yeah.
And so, with the laundromat, that was an opportunity that came up because, of some of the money situations with the small business loans and everything and the opportunities that the government gave us. And, it's like working that into our benefit versus, of not, it's like in pulling the positive out of situations,
Yeah. And what you talk about is we all had to pause. There was a pause during the pandemic, which we never had the luxury or the ability. I call it a luxury because, if you're constantly going, you don't stop in silence ever. And
Exactly.
so I'm not minimizing, the horrors of what happened to people during the pandemic. But for a lot of us, it really made us pause. There's a lot of power in the pause. I know for me, there was power.
It was a
in the
lot of
pause.
power. And I feel like it also just put everybody back to grounding. I remember like before I was just go, not even thinking, and I'd just be going to the grocery store, doing this and doing that. And it's like it got us to the point of like we had to sit home.
Yes,
We had to get back to the
exactly.
grounds of just being comfortable in our space and being comfortable, around our loved ones and stuff. And it kind of brought me back to my childhood of like, on Saturdays, we would just be home.
Yes.
You'd wake up, you'd watch cartoons, and you'd be like, I'm going to go back into my room and read. It's like there
Yes.
wasn't always an agenda. There wasn't
Yes.
always a play date. There wasn't always something that constantly stimulates you. And I feel like the pandemic luckily kind of put me in that mindset of like, I enjoy going home now.
Yes.
I enjoy being just quiet
being
again.
comfortable in your environment,
Exactly.
but also being comfortable in your body. Being
Right.
comfortable with yourself, which is really what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just you had that moment to like, you're not constantly thinking out, you were thinking in. You were taking care of yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically.
Yes.
It's just like there was a lot of things people had to focus on because, of just being home and being, in that space that it kind of just was like, it made you think whether you wanted to or not.
Exactly.
Whether you wanted to or not, you had to think about
the thing
that.
is that it made you think whether you wanted to or not, and there were a lot of people who did not want to, and they would come to me with a lot of anxiety and depression because of that. But when do you feel the most powerful?
I think in my salon. It's just like I love being a boss, but in a way that like I just like to empower people, and I feel like it's taken me a really long time to figure out being a boss. And, now I'm very blessed with a team that they're all mature, talented stylists that I hope that I create an environment that they can be fully themselves and unique and everything. And, I even have a joke in the salon that, I'm in the one corner of the salon and one of my stylists is all the way on the other side. And I'm always like, how's the west side of the salon? Because I don't see her, it's just like, I'll see her maybe for a brief second. And I'm just like, your corner's cool over there? And she's like, yeah, how's the east side? It's just like, because it's like, and that's what I would hope, because, it's like, being a salon owner, I've been in all aspects of it. I've been an assistant. I've been, a stylist in a commissioned salon. I've been a booth renter. So it's just like, I just want to create an environment that people enjoy coming to work, and I feel like, that empowers me being there and being at least a leader, that I can guide them in the way that they, they are capable of, being the best that they can be.
So, it sounds like things just came so easily and so naturally, and you just got in the car and you went, and now you're all successful. But I'm sure there were struggles along the way.
Absolutely. There was definitely some struggles.
Yeah. So can you share one in particular that you had to overcome in order to be the success that you are now?
I hit rock bottom halfway through my, living lifestyle in my 20s and stuff like that. And but got into a bad relationship, moved away for a few years, and then came back and slept on an air mattress. I got a job and had to get my clothes at Goodwill. It's just like I went from making good money to actually down and out. And then that's when I started being an assistant in a salon, and it's like literally building myself back up. So that really humbled me.
Yes.
That really made me appreciate the finances that I make now, and realize where I've come from. So
do you feel at this point in your life you have come to a place of happiness and peace?
Absolutely.
After, overcoming these struggles?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. And that, it's, you always have your challenges, but it's just like manifest. You have to manifest. And that's the biggest thing, because I feel like a lot of things in my career I've just put out there and I didn't even realize I was doing the steps. And then I realized one day I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually where I said I wanted to be. And so manifestation is amazing.
Manifest.
Absolutely.
That's the word of the hour, right?
Yes.
We've got to manifest what we want.
To.
We have to actually visualize what we want in our life.
Absolutely.
And, then we have to figure out how to get it.
Exactly. But if you put your mind in that manifest stage, sometimes you don't have to figure out how to get it. Sometimes you just are making the moves and you don't even realize you're doing it.
So if you could see how wonderful she is, how much experience she has, not only with hair, but just with life and business. And she's really just an amazing inspiration. You are an inspiration to me, and I know you're an inspiration to others. If you would like to get your hair done with Autumn, you can, and you're in the South Florida area, look her up, Autumn Markley Salon and Studio. She's amazing. You are in good hands. And what I didn't refer to before, I want to make sure that you know, if you want to get in touch with Julia Langley for her coaching, classes and ability to get your voice confident and out there, go to Linktree/Julia Langley, where you can find her. So I hope that the stories that we brought to you today are one of empowerment, of healing, of inspiration. And don't forget to make sure that you really acknowledge your own stories, because when you do, you give yourself permission to empower yourself. And remember, you make it through. You pat yourself on the back. You tell your story, because guess what, ladies? It all starts with you. And that's all for today. Join us next time as we create a community that helps you feel accepted for being yourself, giving and receiving unconditional support for each other as we connect and inspire one another. And remember, it all starts with you.